Yes, you were born successful. We all were. That's why we came into the world to become and experience the success that is innate within every single person. But the way that we get there is by discovering our authentic self. And that is a journey of self-discovery, self-actualization, or ascension, as I think of it as well. But it's something that we do individually and we'll do it differently. Mine was quite different. So that's why I'm going to talk to you about it because I want you to understand that you have no idea who you can become because it hasn't happened yet. It's always in front of you. And that's that unknown place that we go into within ourselves. It's in our consciousness. And we all operate in the same way as humans. We can only experience ourselves and our world through our consciousness. And so when we're having a difficult time, understanding that it's just because we're resisting moving to the next understanding of who we could become because we're born unlimited beings. You've heard that so much. But I was supposed to tell you about that as well because that was part of my mission on being on this earth. But I did a presentation the other day and it's called The Science of Fulfillment. I'd love for you to hear that because I explained in there how over the years, 35 years that I did this, I received all of this work which I've come to understand now that it was an ascension guide, I call it, but it's about self-actualization, personal development, and ultimately finding your unique purpose and worth in the world, because everyone has it. We just may put different distinctions on that, or we might judge ourselves. And I did that a lot too, because mine was so different that I thought no one's going to understand this, which I explained in that session because I received information before it actually shows up in our world. The reason I changed my life several years ago is because I knew the world would be changing and I had other information that I could bring that would be so helpful to so many others who are moving through what may feel to them like difficult times or not knowing who they are, being completely confused because that is ascension. I talked about our planetary ascension because the world is moving through it. It's not accidental that the world looks the way that it does and all the events that we've had over the last several years, which I've spoken about because that's the information I've received. But I know that most times people won't hear me because we don't typically see things until they're right in front of us, until they're right there, and then we might make a change. And typically, we don't change until we're a little afraid sometimes. Maybe we're just really having a bad time. Then we'll finally take that jump and do something to start to actualize who we are. So when I did that session the other day, I talked about I will receive messages because there's synchronicity in the universe as well. And so I will receive messages that will correspond to particular dates. And some different years. And I could never explain it, but I'm going to show you a little bit more because I got up. Um, well, yesterday I saw this that there was a message that came through on July 9th of 2022 that said you were being prepared. And that means all of us to move through whatever is in front of us in our lives. We have something within us that can give us the strength, the awareness to move to the next place of who we're meant to become. Now, we can't expect the world to do that because that's the difficulty that we're in now is that everyone's not going to change. You're going to have to decide if you are going to do that. And as I explained in that presentation, it's all around energy. And so the energy that we each hold will cause our lives to become something, but then also we're putting that into the world. So if we're going to continue to really hate ourselves and judge ourselves and go through all of that, then we're putting a lower vibrational energy into the world. And also we don't heal because we all have our paths that we need to move through, which is all about healing and coming to understand our wholeness. I'm going to read this message to you, and then what I'm going to do is you'll see there is a mention of an audiobook. I'm not going to go into the audiobook, but it was called The Physics of the Impossible. And so the reason that that was shared back then is that we don't believe certain things. And so this audiobook, it's really, really long, was saying, it's by a physicist, by the way, saying all the science, all the discoveries that have been made over the years where people didn't believe certain things. And when I first started talking about my work, people didn't believe that as well, even though I'm saying, well, wait a minute, it's healed my life and it's done the same thing for so many others. And why wouldn't you believe that? It's because we become accustomed to what we know and we fear what we don't know. That's basically it. And that's also what's happening in our world. When you listen to the little channeling session, which I will attach to this, it's 18 minutes long. I hadn't remembered that it came through, but I'll attach it to this. You will understand. But remember, it came through a couple of years ago. It'll sound to you that it was happening today. That's how I would receive information. But another thing I'm going to tell you, because I did all of that the other day, the presentation, because I said I have to really cut off what I'm doing, my members who I can bring in, because I'm only going to take a few, and a couple have already done it, so there's a few slots left now. Now, what that means is that those people I'm meeting with personally doesn't mean that you can't come into the program. You can always do that whenever you choose. I'm just not going to take the time to meet with you individually, because when I meet with you first, then we get off to a really great track, and you're going to know who you are and where you're going and the work that you're going to do to actualize everything about you. Now, the others you can come in whenever you want. The only thing that's going to happen is that eventually, the price will be different and all of that. However, that's why I said I can only take these few people, because I'm finishing all the work, because I haven't done that, which I explained clearly. I have so much information that I've gathered over the years, over all of these years, everything that I've lived. I mean, I'm 73. I've had a lot of career. I've had a lot of different jobs and businesses and all of that. So I have that information and wisdom as well, but also from all the work, the cosmic guidance that I've had all of these years, which is why I came out to be this unique person who could heal everything. But now I know that what we all do is we develop something and we give it back to others. But first, let me read you this message, and you will understand a little bit more. One of my glasses. You were being prepared. We have used that title previously, but today you will understand what we meant. We had Roger record a video conversation this morning as we wanted you to be prepared for the next phase of your restructuring. We are repeating this message, which you will see in the video, for we wanted you to notice the date we gave you this information as you have difficulty accepting and believing things about yourself and the world. Still, our work was always to help you overcome your fear and doubt so you can manifest the life and world you want. For this is within your power. You will be fine. And so this is the message from 2020. You are using your current experience of fear to evolve. We are speaking to you individually, the world at large, and the United States in particular. You might wonder how we know that we know it is you who is doing that. And unlike you, we know that you never end up in accidental places. And if you were not meant to read this message, you wouldn't be here. It is challenging for many to accept this, for you have spent significant portions of your life denying who you are or what you have, or that you have guidance. First of all, it might ease your fears if we tell you how it all turns out. You will evolve, recognize and own your gifts, become abundant, and come to love and accept yourself more. We know this because you have done it before. So the only question you will have to answer is how long you will allow that to take. The current times of your world are urging you to answer that question. Most times you resist the information, and that causes physical illness, depression, and lack. Roger felt his resistance yesterday and convinced himself he might be sick, which at the same time he knew that wasn't the case. Just like you have done when you have recognized your distractions. We said the United States would lead the way, lead the world in this restructuring, which you will witness more of tonight. You are asking one question of yourself, the world, and specifically the United States. That question is, do I choose love or fear? We have given this message to Roger for decades, but his current conditions allow him to understand and accept it as you will eventually. Now, that's most of it, but I'm going to attach the recording to the end, and that message is on my website, Any Advice for Today, so you can read it there if you like, and then also that link to that audio book, it's there as well. And again, but the audiobook was just getting us all to understand how we can't accept certain things about ourselves, but if we do, then we start to become the people we're meant to be, and that's where you experience all the success you're meant to have. And that's the step that I'm taking now in my life, because I've been doing this for so long that now all opportunities are open up where I can take it to a global audience, which is what I'm doing. But you have something within you that is meant to be developed now in this world. And so when you'll understand nothing that's happening in our world is accidental, and nothing occurring in your life is that either. You were born with worth and purpose. I just saw something, because we make these judgments about ourselves, but just before doing this, I saw this little piece about this dancing dreams. It's a woman who decided that she was going to create a dance studio for people with disabilities, because she saw that there was no place for them to have this to go to, and to see what comes out of that, because she decided that she was going to make a difference and give people something that they didn't have before. And that's an energetic shift that she caused to happen on this planet. And that's what I'm doing as well. And you can do the same thing. See you soon. We are so pleased you're here, and we've waited for you your entire lives. Now, it doesn't matter if you've ever heard us before, but this will make sense for you. You are moving through a period in your life, in your evolutionary journey, that is momentous, and we wanted you to take the most advantage of this time now, because you have also moved into a new period within your world, and that's why we are giving you this message again that we gave you more than almost 2 years ago, that you will understand today. We know that you don't always know what your world is going to present to you or what your journey might give you, but we will say that you are here now to perform something miraculous, and that is to become yourself. That is the only reason that you are alive. And what we have done for years now is giving you information to help you understand that, and to move through this momentous time in your world in a much easier way. You are experiencing something that none of you have experienced. And so, yes, it would be unnerving to some of you. It would even be frightening. And due to that, you create a little more conflict. And so, what we've always tried to do is to give you something that would help you move beyond your fear and doubt. See, because you have doubted who you are, you have doubted your importance, you have doubted your significance. And this is the time that you meant to realize that and bring it into the world, so that you could cause your world to shift through this particular restructuring, so that you could create the world that you wanted to see and that most want to see as well. Now, we gave you this information beginning back in 2012, and we understand that many of you could not accept that, because you have difficulty seeing beyond what is right in front of you. That is what humans do. We understand that. But then there are others, like Roger, who has memories that he can bring in to help more of you. Now, it was concerning and frightening for him in the beginning, but his life was meant to do this. As we've said in our life conversations, the first part of his life was really difficult for him. He moved through so many challenges and things that most of you would find too horrible to even think about or to move through, but he knew that it was part of his dharma. You see, he accepted this part so that he could help more of you. You each have done that in your own way. You will find that out eventually. You always come to know that. But we will say that you exist now at this particular time because you want to make a big difference. And the biggest difference that you can make is becoming yourself. We have said that for eons now. So, but you will begin to understand it. What we did yesterday, because we said we always orchestrate things so that you can understand what is happening. We had Roger see a video, hear a video that came up on his phone. Nothing happens accidentally. You just think that that is what is going on. You just understand it later, exactly as this message on the screen is telling you, because we did give you this, but now you'll start to put it together. And so when we had him see a video, what happened was he heard someone say, oh, in 2012, I was abducted into a spaceship. Now, we don't want any of you to necessarily have to believe that, because there's many things beyond your experience that do exist. And this was this person's experience of what had happened. And then after she went through that, all of a sudden, she had perception, she had intuition, and she had information that came through that she didn't understand. But then it led her to another career. Now she is leading something that is helping more people. All the work that we have given you is to cause each of you to move into what you are meant to do. It's going to be different than everyone else because you came to do something quite specific, and what you came to do is important. You may not have judged it that way, but it is important and it is essential to the evolvement of your world. You are that important. Each of you carry all the power and ability to transform your lives and the world if you only understood what that was. And that is what we are giving you now. Then after that, accidentally, of course, as many of you would think, we had him here in audiobook, which we will leave a link because we would love more of you to listen to this, even though it was published in 2008. So there's much more that has been developed and has come through now that you will understand. However, this will give you a great basis of understanding. It is called The Physics of the Impossible, because many of you think certain things are impossible, and they are not. You just have limited awareness, but you wanted to have that because you also wanted to evolve. But you have to become willing to let go of your preconceived notions of how you create your life and how your world is created. You have so much more power within you to manifest the life that you wanted to live. And that is the work that we have given you. All the work that we've given you, just to make this really clear, was to allow you to move through your limitations and restrictions. Because when you do that, you start to love yourself. And that's what you want to do. That's what you intended to do as you lived your life. You are here existing on the earth at this time because it is momentous, and it could be for you as well within your life, your physical life experience, because what we are doing is wanting you to enjoy this life. You're meant to be prosperous. You're meant to be happy. You're meant to be in love. But in order to get that, you must move through all of the old stuff, you see, and all the things that you did not understand. You thought you'd made mistakes, but you have not. You were just learning. You're being prepared for this moment in your world's history as well as your own. That is what is occurring. You have two journeys that you're on. One is your evolutionary journey, where you're moving through your limitations, how you've held yourself back forever, and now you wanted to move through that. And as you perform that task, you add your energy to the collective, and then things change. Now, we want to give you this because we're not going to go on too long today, but we just needed to explain this because you're moving into this period, which many of you will see happening, and we wanted you to understand. The reason that we've used the United States, which Roger didn't even understand when we first gave it to him, but he hears us very clearly, and he's able to interpret us and give you this information. That is what he is able to do. Now, again, some of you have that ability and you will relate to that, and this will be encouragement for you to bring forth your voice as well. However, what you are moving into is going to be a little disruptive. The reason we said the United States would lead the way is because they are moving through their Pluto return. Now, we've talked about that before, but what that is birth and and death and birth. It's a restructuring, as we have said. You're building something new. So in order for that to occur, you have to become willing to let go of the old. And you don't like doing that, you individually and you and collective you, because you want to know where things are going. We've given you that information before as well. You need to have a path laid out so you know where you're going. But no, everything that you want is in your unknown, and you have the ability to create that. You have the ability to manifest that. You're such powerful beings. And what we wanted you to do is come to understand that we only need 144,000 of you to really shift your world. You see, that's all we need. And we're almost there. And many of you will understand that because there are people all over the world doing the kind of work that we are doing, which is causing you to love yourselves, because you're going to see a lot of division happening. Now, the reason the United States is moving through this restructuring is because they set themselves up to be the leaders, and they have not led in the way consistently that would cause you to move into oneness. That's what you're always doing in every civilization. You're attempting to move into oneness, becoming one, loving one another. And so if you're not giving freedom and granting equal rights to all, you have not given it to yourselves, because you are all the same. And that is why you're here now. And the United States was leading the way, but they got off track, as we've said. We've told you that before. But now they're going to start to come back together. We told you about the women that were going to be important in this particular restructuring, and you saw that happen in the United States as well, because the women had some rights taken away. Well, you've done that throughout your civilizations. It's gone on forever. You will use other people to put them down so that you can feel more powerful. But you never win that way, you see, because you're still trying to come back to oneness. You cannot become the powerful beings that you are meant to be while you're separated within yourselves and separated out in the world. You are in existence at this time to come together, and the first place is within you. This is why we gave you all the work, is to begin to understand how important, how vital you are. Now, the reason that 2012 was so important, why so many on the planet have resonated with that particular year, is because there was a definite change that happened in your society, and there was a time that was beginning then to come to this time now so that you could actualize it. When we gave you the work in 2012, we wanted you to have time to assimilate it, to move through it, because that's what you've been doing in your life since that time. But now is when you meant to activate it. Now is when you meant to bring it forth, because that blossoming of you will add to your world and create something very different. Now, as you go move into your next week, you see, the United States will be having some hearings about what happened in their world. And it's going to be a reckoning of all of that's gone on. And again, it will become better if more of you understand what you're doing, because you'll add a different energy to it. You will see many in your world who will be fighting with one another. And this is, again, why we wanted you to see the message so you would understand. And you will contribute to that energy collectively in your way. And the best way that you can contribute is by deciding to work on you. We love using that because that's what you humans think that you're doing, is working on something, except actually what you're doing is letting go of your restrictions and your limitations that you have placed all around you, that you can't understand certain things about your world or yourselves, which has caused you not to live the life that you could. But we're saying again that if you come together, you will create something so marvelous in your life and in your world. Now, again, you will see that not everyone will understand this, and others will fight and want to add conflict and more war to your planet. We told you about the war as well, and that is happening. But it is not as terrible as you think, because what will come out of it, not that you will see immediately, but what will come out of it is a restructuring that was meant to happen, where more of you will love one another, where you will love yourselves first, and then you will bring that out into the world. Now, we know that it's challenging for you to even think, and especially those who know Roger, to think, how is this happening? How is he accessing this information? You have the same ability. The reason 2012 was important because, again, that was a movement that was happening, and we have connected it to the Mayan calendar, as many of you have known. Many of you thought that the world was going to end on December 21st of 2012, but it did not. And we gave you a message on that day, and we said, wait. On that day, we said, wait. None of you understood what that meant then, but you will now, because we said to wait for this time in your world to actualize, to really look at what you've accomplished in your life, to start to appreciate that, to start to love yourself, to start to bring forth something that you were meant to live. And in living that, you were meant to be prosperous. We want you to understand that, because we've talked about this often, is that this particular shift needs to be, it had to be a restructuring of your wealth and income in your world, because you've left out so many people, you've left out so many parts of your world, and that's why people are starving to death, because not all of you are paying attention to the wholeness that you possess that is within you. And this change could cause something so different to manifest in your world. And the reason that we're giving you this audiobook, we'll leave a link there because we would love for many of you to listen to it. It's 11 hours long, but you couldn't spend any much better time, because you will understand the connection of things. Now, you each come into the world to do something in a different way. We have told you that Roger came in to bring together science, human potential and development, and spirituality. Now, we do not mean religion, because you're moving beyond that. Your religions have caused you to cause more separation, typically, because that is money, love, power, and control. You use that throughout your civilization. You always do, and you're doing that again now. And you will start to see that. And so you'll fight over all of those things. Now, you can decide that you will fight with others about that, or you will come together within yourself and own who you are, love yourself, and bring that to the world. And that is the only work that we have given you, and the only work that we want you to understand. You are perfect. You are a perfect being. Everything that has occurred in your life, everything you have done, everything that has happened to you, all of that we have said is perfect. And it was perfect because it was part of your plan. And once you understand it, you will let go of your self-judgment. And when you let go of your self-judgment, you will start to love yourself. And as you do that, your life will expand to become magnificent. And that's what we see for you. And that is the work that we have given you. And this is why you are alive now. Because if you do that, if more of you do that, you will create a world that you all want to see. And we are going to continue to guide and give you what we can. Now, with the wealth and income, we've talked often about the price of the program. This was Roger's struggle, because he had to move through his evolutionary journey of limitedness, just as you do. And thinking you place physical value on things in this 3D physical world. You will place the importance of money and possessions and material things, which you don't keep, they don't last, but you do use those to navigate your world, to develop your soul. So it develops your soul when you understand in this human experience that you have more, that you are abundant. Wow, you can make a bigger difference. And Rogers held back because he wanted to be sure. You each have your ways of holding yourselves back. Again, you don't like to do things that you don't know for sure, or you like to have this known place that you're moving to, which doesn't serve you. He has done the same thing, but no, he can no longer do that. He knows that we have given him something, we have given you all something that could cause your world to be so much better. Because see, what happens is as you come out of it, as you come through it, you are using our philosophy to come to actualize who you are. We are never telling you what to do, because we're only guiding you. We want you to own who you are, because it's brilliant and it's magnificent, and you have so much within you that you just have not known. And so as you start letting go of the judgments and thinking that you did something wrong, you failed, or any of that, you did not. You were evolving, you were developing, you were preparing for this moment in your life and in your world. And what we will do will continue to support you in doing all of that. But we can't do it for you. We can't force you to believe. We can't cause you to let go of your limited thinking. You have to do that. because there's something waiting for you that is so magnificent, and we will help you get there, and we will always love you.